Hi, good day. If this is your first time joining us on this channel and you're not yet familiar with who I am, well, I'm Anton Meerkotter, known as Coach Anton from the channel Coach Anton and a company, Coach Anton Pty Ltd. I'd like to welcome you to this channel in this case, and even those who have been coming here frequently, thank you very much for coming around and thank you for being loyal to our channel as well. Now, for those who are new here as well, we are currently busy with a series on how to use sports mental coaching. And under the series, we have got a topic on sports mental coaching for individual players and player management. And a subtopic of that, which is what we're dealing with today, is getting into the zone. So getting into the zone is what I'm basically going to be dealing with today. And if you've not heard of it before and you're wondering what is the zone, there's a lot of other terms used out for it out there. And one of the other terms is also basically a state of flow that you might also have heard of. There's one of the other usages of the same state you basically get. But before I go into all of that, I'd like to go and firstly dedicate a moment to just send out a shout out to some of my loyal supporters out there and some of the previous listeners on some of our other videos. So on one of our videos that was on leadership, it's about two videos ago, we basically had a nice comment here coming from Steve Bez from Soccer Tech saying, maybe my most enjoyed video yet. Would be so helpful for a player to grasp his role in the squad. Just because I'm not playing doesn't mean I'm not a leader. Now, thank you so much, Steve. I think that's the exact point I wanted to get across. And such a big part of that is that leadership is not always about being the key player in terms of your actual playing ability, but sometimes about the biggest influence you can make because of your character trait. And that can be done even from the bench. So the character trait of leading is much more powerful, will always keep you within the team, even if it's just on the bench, because of the impact and the influence you've got on your team. And that is something that I really value from what I've just seen here as well. Steve, I'd like to thank you for your feedback, and I know you comment quite frequent on so many of my videos as well, sometimes directly to me, and thank you for that. Thank you for supporting us in all those ways as well. If anyone else that thinks of commenting and haven't done so, please go ahead and do so, and some of the others, you know that I have quoted them before, sending shout outs to them as well. Once again, to Steve Best, thanks, and this shout out goes to you. So in our topic today, what I'd like to focus on is our subtopic called getting into the zone. Now, many of you obviously know about the zone and have heard about the zone. Some of you might be using that and getting into that quite frequently. For those who are not doing that, well, I'd like to encourage you to really try to utilize this. So what is being in the zone? Being in the zone is basically a state in which your mind zooms out from everything around and zoom in on what you are focusing and concentrating on and that you are busy with at that specific moment. It's a complete state of concentration, if I had to explain it that way, a complete state of focus on what you are busy with, and it leads to extreme performance or excellence in that specific aspect as well. Now, I have mentioned in one of my other videos that it can be dangerous as well, because you might be blocking out vital information that is being given to you by, for example, your coach. However, if in most case scenarios, you're basically doing this and applying, getting into the zone, you also tend to include whatever else could be important, including communication from your coach. So when we basically look at mental coaching in total and getting into the zone, this is not something that you're just gonna overnight be able to apply and overnight be able to implement and it's going all perfect and you're experiencing over and over and easily getting into it, right? It is something you're going to practice and you're going to practice and you're going to practice. And how long you can stay in the zone without being kicked out of it. Your opposition, when they realize you're in the zone, is obviously going to try to get you out of it. And there's many different tactics, and some might call it foul tactics, that they could apply to try and get you out of it. But effectively speaking, as long as you keep focusing on the moment, you keep focusing on the next action required, you are likely to find yourself succeeding in staying in that state of mind. Now, this does not just happen with you walking onto the field and going into that state. This happened long before. It has a build-up attached to it, and that build-up includes, for example, meditating on the game, visualizing the actual match, seeing yourself performing in that match, having been in team talks, discussing the team discussions, and then visualizing that as well. These are all different aspects that you could be doing, but you'll note a lot of visual, and more visual aspects that I'm mentioning. And of course, meditation, calming down, zooming out from everything else so that you're not disturbed by a lot of other distractions. Note, of course, as much as fans can be there to drive you and to motivate you, they could also be quite pressurizing and a negative impact, especially if it's the opposition crowd that's quite big. So I always motivate players to try and zoom out from that and focus on the game so that they can give the crowd what the crowd really came to see in the first place, right? And ultimately so that they can give their supporters what their supporters came to see or want to see when looking on TV or wherever else. Now, if we basically go and focus on the game itself, right? Now you're trying to channel yourself, trying to get your mind ready. What is it that you need to achieve? You need to take your mind and literally zoom out from everything else onto the game, take all your concentration onto the game and focus on the task at hand. Now that takes a lot of prep. It takes a prep of understanding the total game plan, understanding perhaps the cohesion, having good cohesion with your fellow teammates, understanding their movements they might make on the field at what time, for example, and then also at the same time understanding your role in the whole game and the influence and the impact you could make. On top of that, you basically go and you have meditated on this game or meditated on the moment that you're going into and have visualized yourself playing and applying these tactics. So that's what you basically want to go and do at this point of time. Over and above that, now once you get into this game, you basically zoom on all of these aspects at once and have an intense focus, intense concentration, focusing on a goal and a mission at hand that you are busy working at, focusing on the next task at all given times. Now, when you focus on the next task at hand, that always makes it easier to zoom out from everything else around you. And then not to get disturbed by a bad call from the ref, or a bad tackle from the opponent, or for example, a teammate committing an error. But instead, you might actually be encouraging that teammate because that is part of your next action and concentration as well. If you, for example, a leader character on the field as well. So you basically take that into consideration and looking just at what you can be and how frequent and how often and for how long you can get into this state where you've got all this concentration and you get into the zone. So when you can get into this frame of mind or this state of mind, it really leads to great results. And you'll see athletes who can share stories about how they've achieved great individual records and great team achievements being in the zone. And the more frequent you can get in this, the more consistent your performance can become. Quite a good and high performance on a consistent basis. So the greatest players in the world, such as for example Ronaldo, use a lot of visualization and a lot of these type of aspects to try and keep them in the game. So that is something that I really recommend many of you try to apply out there and you try to find out how to get into this. But remember one thing, as I mentioned before, getting into the zone is something that will lead to a good outcome and good results, but it's got to build up. Make sure you familiarize yourself to build up, you practice it regularly so that it's easier for you to get back into that state of mind and into that frame of mind. You can prepare yourself for a practice session or a friendly match in the same way and apply these type of methods and these type of aspects as well. You can go in a training session into a match part of it and be ready for it because you have visualized yourself for that partially and you understand your role and you are practicing zooming out from the rest, focusing on your actual game at that point of time. And I really recommend that this become part of your daily practice routine out there as you go to training session, so that when you come to a match, it's not something different, but it's in sync and in line with what you've been practicing all along. As for the coaches out there, I really encourage that you make it part of your players' routine as well, and that you encourage that from a coaching perspective as well, and give them the necessary space they need in order to prepare in this way as well. At the same time, if any of you are looking at utilizing my services and or getting professional help in getting this type of coaching going, please get in touch with me. My contact details should also be on the screen. And we are reaching, some of the last few topics on individual players. And of course, our next topic will be out there as well. And I'm hoping to see you guys coming into it, watching that as well. If you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please go ahead, press the subscribe button at the bottom as well. And don't forget to share this to as many of your teammates and or friends in sports that you can think of that might benefit off this information I've shared today as well. Now, if you've got any questions, please put them in the comment section below, and I will be certain to respond to them. And if there's any positive remarks specifically about this, then please put them there as well. I will give you a shout out in one of my coming videos if it is a comment directly related to this video as well. As from my side though, thank you very much for attending this, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next video. Until then, keep in mind, eat the game. If you've been watching this video and until here, obviously you've got a lot of interest and might actually be looking at some of our professional services as well. Please note the series that I'm busy launching onto YouTube as how to use sports mental coaching will not always be left as public, or most likely not. We are looking at making it part of our workshops and actually having subscriptions around it as well, and different type of packages that people can sign up for, and then only keeping some of the framework there and the detail like this one being used as actual working material for people who are loyal subscribers, assisting us to make this channel possible through subscribing and having a small income towards our channel as well. Now, with that being the case, I'd like to obviously encourage all of you to inquire more about that, and to even make your suggestions as to what you would like to see in these packages. That's if you are seeing this before the packages are launched. If you're seeing this after the packages are launched, maybe you're just in an entry level package and you're looking at getting into the next package or the elite package, please go ahead and see all other videos as well, and really continue to enjoy this and utilize this as is necessary for you to get better results on the field. I would like to hear from you though, how this specific video and information on this or any of the other videos you've seen might have benefited you. Please share it with me. Also put it in the comments below or send it on a direct message to us, and I will be certain to respond to you accordingly as well. That's it from me though. To all of you, until our next video, may you have a great week or may you have a great day, and please remember, keep in mind, eat the game.